بكت كل يوم كل الكائنات.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، بارئ الخلائق أجمعين، باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد، حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد، وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته المنتجبين، واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك وأناخت برحلك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا، ورحمة الله وبركاته. قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات سيجعل لهم الرحمن ودا. صدق الله العلي العظيم. There's a desire in every human being, with some exceptions, of course, because there's an exception to every rule. Every human being almost desires to be loved, desires to have friends, desires to be welcomed and embraced. It's in our genes, and it maybe comes from survival of the fittest. Although this topic could take us into evolution, and it's besides the point what Islam thinks of evolution. Does it accept or not accept? But this, at least, is acceptable, and that is that there are certain things that are in our genes. It's part of our genetics to be loved, to be accepted, to try to win people's hearts, to try to have influence on them, to try to persuade them of our thoughts and opinions. This is in every human being. It's in the genes. Why? Because the person who is loved will survive the longest. He who is not loved, he who has enemies, has lower chances of survival. So this existed from before and exists till today. The more you're loved, the more you have friends, the more you have people that you can influence and convince, the more your chances are of success, of being successful, of attaining your goals, of accomplishing your goals and your vision and your mission in life. The more you can have influence over others, the more you can be loved, the more you can achieve your goals. That is why having 1,000,000 friends is still not enough. The more you have friends, the more you have people that love you, the better it is for you to accomplish your goals, to attain success, and to achieve success. 1,000,000 friends are not enough. And one enemy is too much. To have one enemy who dislikes you, who doesn't love you, who is not convinced by you, who is not influenced by you, it's too much. One enemy is too much. Now, so we know that to win people's hearts is a fundamental factor for success. Anyone who wishes to achieve success has to win people's hearts. If you wish to be a politician, if you wish to be a religious scholar, if you wish to be a philanthropist, if you wish to be a professor at a university, if you wish to be a teacher for at grade schools, if you wish to achieve success in any field that you'd like to go in, even if you want to become a doctor, if you want to become a lawyer, You have to win people's hearts. You have to be loved. Otherwise, it's very difficult to attain success when people hate you, when people dislike you, when people are not convinced by you, when people are not influenced by you. People have a disdain for you. You can't achieve success. You can't reach your goals if there's people standing in your way because of you, not because of them, but because of you, of the things you do, because you haven't bought people's hearts. When I mean bought, I don't mean monetarily, but gain people's hearts. You won't be able to achieve success. There are some people that have failed to win people's hearts. That's why, and that reflects in their professional lives. You see a politician, he's disliked. He will fail as a politician. A doctor that is disliked, has failed in his social life, might fail as a doctor as well. Because it's not about being a good doctor. Part of being a good doctor is knowing how to deal with people. It's not just being in a surgery room, in an operation room, and performing a surgery. It's how to attract customers, how to attract patients to come to your office. Same goes with a lawyer. You might be the best lawyer in that you know the law very well, but you might not have clients. You might not have customers that you can defend in a courtroom. Why? Because you haven't won people's hearts. You haven't been able to influence people. You haven't been able to be liked by people. Same goes for scholars, religious scholars, even maraja or public speakers. If you haven't won people's hearts, if you haven't had an effect on people's hearts, then you won't succeed in your mission to influence people, to convince people, to guide people. Thus, to be loved is not a selfish cause. It's a way for you to be successful. It's a way for you to accomplish your goals, even the divine goals that you might have, even the goals that satisfy Allah Azza wa Jal. In order to achieve that sort of success and to fulfill those goals, you have to win people's hearts. Prophets could not have been successful in their endeavors if they had not won people's hearts. The Imams of Ahlul Bayt, they could not have been successful lest they had won people's hearts, and they did. Look at the people that love the Ahlul Bayt. Look at the people that love prophets. There are people that are willing to sacrifice their lives for the Imams and for the Ahlul Bayt and for some prophets. This means that they affected people's hearts. They won people's hearts. And that is why they were so influential. That is how they spread the teachings of Allah Azza wa Jal, by winning people's hearts first. So it's not a worldly cause to win people's hearts. No, it could be a divinely cause to win people's hearts. Whatever mission that you have, even if it's a divine mission, first you have to win people's hearts. First you have to be influential. First you have to make sure that your word is heard, is that people accept you, people like you for who you are. Now, some people have failed. They failed in their social lives. Some have not been able to gain friends. Some have gained friends, but they lost them. And there's a hadith that says that a person is truly in loss if he has not been able to gain friends. And a person more in loss is the one who gained friends, but then he lost them or she lost them because of their attitude, because of their behavior, because of their manners, because of their etiquettes, because of their akhlaq, because of their demeanor. They lost their friends. Islam teaches us to gain friends, not to gain enemies. Islam teaches us that 1,000,000 friends are not enough and one enemy is too much. There's some that don't have friends and don't get along with anyone. At home, they don't get along with their wife. They don't get along with their children. They don't get along with their coworkers at work. They don't get along with their boss. In the street, they have road rage. They don't get along with other drivers. They go to the supermarket, they get in fights with other customers, and so on and so forth. There's people that repel others. They don't know how to gain people's friendship, gain people's love, win people's hearts, whether it's at home or in their business or at the mosque or at social gatherings or even on the road. Winning people's hearts is everything. It's the key factor to success. But how do you do it? How do you win people's hearts? Do you go out and you spill money, $100 bills on the street so that people love you? Or do you have to become a celebrity, someone very popular, someone that shows up in movies? Do you have to become an actor or an entertainer or a famous athlete to win people's hearts? Or is there a magic spell where you can put people under some potion, some love potion or some magic, and they all fall in love with you? Or do you have to seek help from jinn to get people to love you? What is it that you could do? Or is there a special dua that we can recite to gain people's love and win people's hearts and to be influential? My dear friends, it's none of the above. You don't need to spend money to gain people's hearts and win people's hearts and get people to love you. It's not about being popular or being a famous athlete or being a famous actor. It's not about magic or jinn or a spell or a curse or a special dua. No, my dear friends. It's something very much simpler. It's something simple. It doesn't require fame. It doesn't require money. It requires us to change our habits. It requires us to change some of our akhlaq. It requires us to change some of our manners. And it will do magic. It will be more effective than magic. Now, tonight, my dear friends, we will go through a list of ways, and there's 11 ways that tonight we will discuss. There's a lot of ways, but we've chosen 11 ways to win people's hearts. How to get people to love you, to listen to you, to be influenced by you. And again, I emphasize that these are not for worldly gains. I'm not saying this so that we may benefit in this world for a business or for marriage. No. It could be for divine purposes. How can you be more influential on this earth to gain a better place in the next? Just like the Ahlul Bayt. Wasn't Imam Ali loved? Weren't the Ahlul Bayt loved? Didn't they win people's hearts? How did they win people's hearts? That is the question. In order for us to become like the Ahlul Bayt, like the Imams, to win people's hearts, what is it that we have to do to be like them? This is what we will talk about in the next couple of minutes, inshallah. Number one, a golden rule. If you want people to love you, if you want to have a good first impression that you set in people's minds, if you want people to remember you, remember their names. Remember people's names. This is quite tricky because a lot of times we don't pay attention when someone introduces themselves. They introduce themselves. We don't pay attention to the name. So the name slips and we forget. And then the next time that we meet the same person, we'll forget their name. And we'll ask them, I'm sorry, can you remind me of your name? This is an insult. It's a major insult when you don't remember people's name or people's names. They might not show it. Maybe they don't, they don't show emotions. They'll tell you their name again. But try to remember their name. You meet a person once, and then when you see that person again, start off by mentioning their name and look at the wonders. Look how special they feel. Oh, you remembered my name. You remember me. There is no feeling better than being remembered. That means you left an impression on someone. When someone remembers your name, that means they didn't forget you. That means they thought about you. That means your discussion with them had an influence on them. It had a good impression on them. So when you remember a person's name, that makes them feel proud. It makes them feel important. It makes them feel special. And you've immediately got that person's attention by remembering their name. I know this is very simple. You might say it's remembering people's name. That's it, and people will love me. That's one step. One step. Now I want you to think for a minute about those who you've met before, and those who you met for the first time, and then you met them a second time. Who remembered your name and who didn't, and see who is still friends with you and your feelings towards that person, and the person who forgot your name right away, or maybe even in the first discussion, in the first conversation that they had, they forgot your name. Who is closer to you and who is more influential to you? Person number one who forgot your name, or person number two who remembered your name the second time that they saw you. So this is a golden rule. 2. Number 1 is to remember people's names. Number 2 is to remember to always have a smile on. This is difficult. This is difficult. First of all, why to remember to smile? Because we human beings were automatically attracted to a person that's smiling. A person who smiles makes us feel good, makes us feel warm, makes us feel happy, makes us forget our anxiety, our difficulties. Unlike a person who's always grumpy. When you see a person who is always grumpy, makes you depressed, makes you sad. You don't want to sit with a person that makes you feel grumpy because he looks grumpy. He always has a frown and looks angry and looks upset. But a person who's smiling is approachable. Someone who's smiling is likable. See, a smile makes us feel good psychologically. When we see a smile, in our mind, a smile is associated with happiness. So when we see someone smiling, it means happiness. And when you see someone who's grumpy, we associate grumpiness with sadness. Immediately you're drawn towards whom? A person who's smiling or someone who's grumpy? Someone who's smiling, because he's associated with happiness. You want some of that happiness. When you see someone smiling, that means he's happy or she's happy. So you want some of that happiness to be rubbed off on you. You want some of it. You want that person to give you some of that happiness. So you're drawn towards a person who's smiling. Why do we make children laugh? You know, as adults, as parents, as grown-ups, we try our best to make a child, a baby, an infant, laugh or smile. Why? Because when we see that child smile or laugh, it feels so good. It feels so good. The child will feel good for smiling and laughing, and you will feel good by seeing that smile, by seeing that laugh. So smile when you meet people, when you go to a majlis, when you go in your business, at your office, at home, with your children, with your spouse, with friends, with strangers, when you're shopping, keep a smile on. There's a hadith that says, Al-mu'min bishruhu fi wajhih, huznuhu fi qalbih. A mu'min, his smile is on his face, and his sadness is in his heart, and not the other way around. His sadness is not on his face, while his happiness is in his heart. No. A mu'min, a true mu'min, no matter how sad he is, no matter how depressed he is, no matter how much under pressure and stress he is, or she is, they're smiling. They keep a smile. So that you can't tell whether this person is really sad or is happy. He looks happy, she looks happy. You don't know. A true mu'min, a lot of people don't know what sort of life they have, what's happening in their homes, or in their businesses, or in their office, or at their stores, because they're smiling. So you assume that this person is doing good. That's why you're attracted to a person who's smiling. When I say attracted, I don't mean romantically attracted, but you're attracted to a person who is smiling, meaning that you want to be with this person. You want to speak to this person. You want to enjoy this person's company. And I don't mean it in a romantic way. So by a smile, you can win people's hearts. By not being gloomy, by not being grumpy all the time. We all have difficulties. We all have obstacles. We all have challenges in our lives. It could be at home. It could be at work. It could be our business isn't doing so well. It could be our children. It could be all sorts of challenges. But the real challenge is to keep a smile on your face despite all of those challenges. This is the biggest challenge. That's the biggest winner at the end of the day. A person who doesn't lose spirit, a person who doesn't lose heart and keeps a smile on their face. This is true Iman. And this is what Islam wants from us. This is what Islam wants from us. Not to lose hope. Keep a smile on. Have hope in Allah Azza wa Jal. Even at the worst times, remember Allah. Remember His mercy. Put that smile on and good will come to you. A third rule. How to win people's hearts. Talk less, listen more. This is very difficult. Why? Because we human beings, we like to talk, and listening can be difficult at times. Sometimes we're not bothered to listen. We're not in the mood to listen. We want to talk. We want to do the talking. Talking is easy. Listening is hard. And it's the people that listen to us is the people that we love the most. Think about your friends. Who are your closest friends? Who are your best friends? The closest to you. They're the ones that listen to you. When you want to pour your heart out to someone. When you don't want advice. You know what to do. You know what's the right thing to do. You have a problem. You're facing a dilemma, and you know the problem and the solution. You don't want someone to give you the solution. You want someone to listen to you, someone to hear you out, someone to give you their ear and give you their emotions, someone to give you their time just to hear you talk. How important is this? I'm sure that when you review your friends, you will see that you are closer to the friends that listen to you and not the ones that do the talking the most, but the ones that do the listening the most. You confide in them. You share your secrets with them. You feel closest the most to them. And when they're gone, you miss them the most. We love people that listen to us. So let's try this. Talk less and listen more. You don't need to offer advice. You don't need to offer suggestions. Some people, they know what to do. They already know the right thing to do, but they just have a load on their heart. There's something on their chest that they want to get rid of. They want to speak to someone, be that someone, and see how you can win people's hearts. But you have to be genuine. You have to be genuine. It's not about acting. It's not about pretending. You have to be genuinely listening to someone. You give them your full attention. We live at a time, unfortunately to say, we have low attention spans. We don't give people our attentions. In the middle of a conversation, we start texting. We go on WhatsApp. We go on social media. In the middle of a conversation, 5 minutes through the conversation, and we're already bored. And we're already going through social media. And we get bored quickly from that device as well. From WhatsApp to Twitter to Facebook to Instagram. And we keep on switching. This is a time that we live in. We have short attention spans. Unfortunately, we're not bothered to listen attentively without disrupting the other side. We don't listen to our family members, let alone friends. A husband doesn't listen to his wife. A wife doesn't listen to her husband. Parents don't listen to their children. Children don't listen to their parents. Because of these devices, we have very short attention spans. The more you can give people your attention and your ears and you listen, the more you can win people's hearts. The Quran encourages us to listen. فَبَشِّرْ عِبَادْ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلَ فَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَهُ. Give glad tidings to my servants, those who listen to the word and follow the best of it. Those who listen. those who don't close their ears, those who don't brush people away. No, those who listen and then they choose the best. And there's a hadith that tells us the wiser a person is, the less that person talks. The less the person talks. The wiser we become, we talk less, we listen more. It's part of wisdom. Those who talk more and more every day, they're losing in wisdom. The wiser we are, the less we talk, the more we listen. Now, another very important rule, rule number 4, in how to gain people's hearts and how to influence them, is to talk less about yourself, talk more about them. When you're in a conversation with a friend, with someone at the mosque, someone at work, try your best to talk less about yourself and to talk more about that person and see the results, see the wonders. We human beings, we're egotistical. We're self-centric. We like to talk about ourselves. So we go to work. How was your weekend? And we give a speech. We give a full speech. Well, it started off on Friday afternoon when I got back from work, and we give every single detail until Sunday night or until Monday morning when we woke up to come to work, and we forget to ask about that person's weekend. After that speech, we ask, well, I'm sorry, how was your weekend? And then time's already gone, you have to go back to work. We human beings, we love to talk about ourselves. Why? Because we love ourselves. And when you love something, you can't stop talking about something. Imagine if you love your car, you're always talking about your car, to your friends, to your spouse, to your children, right? Because we love ourselves so much that we can't stop talking about ourselves. With friends, with family members, with coworkers, we're always talking about what we like, what we want, what we did, what we ate, and so on and so forth. Instead, try talking about the other person. You meet your friend, your coworker, ask them, how was your weekend? Did you enjoy it? What did you do during the weekend? Is it something that you do? Would you consider doing it at another time? How do you feel about this? And I'm not saying that you go and interrogate people and you ask them 1,001 questions. No, but you learn to shift the topic from yourself to others. Now, review yourself and review your friends and see who are the friends that you enjoy talking to the most. Most likely it's those friends that allow you to talk about yourself, and they follow with you and they listen to you, and they too talk about you. They ask you about your relationship, about your marriage, about your work, about your school. And now think of friends that are continuously talking about themselves. You get bored of them. People don't like, others that continuously talk about themselves, that are self-centric, that are egotistical. No one likes people like that. Talk about others, about their goals, about their missions, about their weekend, about their feelings, about what they need, what they want. Change the topic, and you will see how people will love you, how you can win people's hearts, how people will enjoy having conversations with you. People will look forward to having a discussion with you. But this is very important, and that is to be genuine about it. Don't talk about that person because you're trying to sell them something, or because you have an interior motive, or you have an interior goal. Be in the habit of talking less about yourself and more about the person you're talking with. Be genuine about it. When you ask them questions, show genuine interest. You have to be genuinely interested. You can't fake it. Because, those that are fake will be called out immediately. You can fake it once, but you can't fake it twice. You can't fake it in all discussions. People will know that there's an agenda, a hidden agenda. No, be genuinely interested in others. Show interest in them. Ask about them. Ask about their feelings. Ask about how they feel regarding this matter and listen attentively. Be a good listener and talk less about yourself, and you will see how people will be drawn to you, how you will fall into people's hearts, and how you will draw friends. And this will make you lovable. Number 5, this is also very important, and that is we need to show people more appreciation. Appreciate more, complain less. You know, a lot of times when we sit with a coworker or a friend, we complain. We complain about what they do. Why is it that you did this? What you're wearing doesn't match your shirt, doesn't match your shoes. Or that speech that you gave at work, it wasn't in sync with the other lectures that were given, or the report that you've written, it just doesn't make sense. You know, when you constantly complain about others, they'll be drawn away from you. No one likes to hear complaints all the time. Whether it's a husband that always hears complaints from a wife, or a wife that constantly hears complaints from a husband, or children that constantly hear complaints from their parents, or vice versa. No one wants to hear complaints all the time, but rather show appreciation. You know that report that you gave? It was excellent, but it could have been more excellent if you had mentioned this fact or that fact. You see, it's all in the wording. It's all in the wording. You can get your point across. You can be convincing and influential by not complaining, by showing appreciation, by not criticizing. No one likes to be criticized, especially if it's harsh criticism. People take criticism personally. You might be criticizing a person's book, but that person doesn't see it as criticism to his book or her book, but criticism to their brain, criticism to their thought process, to how they think. They take it personally. So show less criticism, more appreciation. And even if you wanted to be critical, there's ways of being critical without being harsh, without scarring the other person or hurting their feelings. Let me give you an example. If someone is a good orator, but is not a good author, and that person gives you a book, and then he says, what did you think of or she says, what did you think of my book? You could say, your book is good, but I wish that your book was just as good as your speaking, or as good as your speeches. Your book is good, but if only it was as good as your speeches and lectures, you would have topped it. You see, you didn't hurt the person. You boosted that person's morale by telling them what a good speaker they are and pushing them to make their books as good as their speeches without hurting their feelings. You're appreciating one aspect and getting them to pick up in another aspect of their life. There is ways. It's all about how you speak, my dear friends. It's not about what you say. It's about how you say it. Sometimes you could have very good intentions, but if you don't relate your comment, your criticism in a good fashion, in a good way, in a way that doesn't hurt people's feelings, you could do a lot of damage. While if you show appreciation, if you don't use harsh criticism, you can win people's hearts and you get people to love you. Number 6, avoid unnecessary arguments. There are some people that argue over anything and everything. What's the weather today? Someone says it's 85 degrees. You say, no, it's 80 degrees. I checked and you're wrong. You haven't checked the weather app and I would know better than you. It's 80 degrees. That's nonsense. You fight over the weather. You fight over food. You fight over the simplest things, and people will be drawn away from you. You won't have friends. You won't have anyone that would sit with you. even your spouse, even your children, even your parents and siblings will run away from you. Avoid unnecessary arguments. You don't have to fight over the simplest things like sports, who won a game and why they won and what could have they done better, or fighting over a movie or a series or the TV or the news or politics. Some fight over politics, those that are bigger than them. Politics is bigger than us. Why would I destroy my relationship, my friendship with a friend, with a dear friend, over something that's bigger than me? And it won't make a difference. We're meeting over a coffee and we fight over politics. Why? Why would I do that? Does that make sense? Although we do it. We're all guilty of it. We fight over minor things and we lose friends. And at the end of the day, I say, well, why? Why doesn't anyone want to go out with me? Why, when I message people or call them, they don't return my phone calls? Because when you fight over the smallest things, no one likes a fighter. No one wants to have a friend that argues over everything. Number 7, every person is entitled to their opinion. You're entitled to your opinion, and others are entitled to their opinions. Respect people's opinions. It's okay to disagree. Not everyone is required to have your opinion. People can disagree with you. It's okay that people disagree with us, whether it's over politics, whether it's over religion, whether it's over the weather, whether it's over sports, whether it's over how to run the mosque or how to run the community center. It's okay to disagree. Each person is entitled to their opinion. We have to respect that opinion and appreciate that opinion. It's okay that my friend disagrees with me. Let me learn to respect that person's opinion. Unfortunately, a lot of times we don't respect people's opinions. We ridicule them. We belittle their opinions. Oh my God, that's ridiculous. You actually believe in this insane thought that has absolutely no proof and evidence? Why? Why be so harsh in belittling people's opinions? When you belittle a person's opinion, you're belittling their brains and minds. They take it personally. Respect everyone's opinions, even those who disagree with you. Respect people's opinions. Learn to appreciate other people's opinions. Learn to listen to other people's opinions. Maybe you'll learn something. Maybe you'll gain something. And I say this to myself as well. الَّذِينَ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقَوْلَ فَيَتَّبِعُونَ أَحْسَنَهُ. Those who listen to the word and they choose the best. Listen to other opinions. Don't be so opinionated that you judge people quickly. Have your opinion, but let others be. Let others have their opinions as well and respect them for it. Just because a person who disagrees with you in an opinion, it doesn't mean that you should start a fight or an argument and there should be animosity between you. This is very important. Number 8, humility. Humility. I can't emphasize on this enough. How humility is important. How people love those that are humble. And how people hate those that are arrogant. The way we talk, the way we sit, even our hand movements, even our facial expressions, it says a lot about whether we're humble or we're arrogant. How you move your hand when you speak, the way you speak to others, the way you sit on a chair or in a gathering, on a couch, it says a lot about you. No one likes people that are arrogant. No one. There's no one. You could be the richest person on earth. You could be the smartest person on earth. You could be the most religious person on earth. You pray, you give zakat, you go to Hajj, but you're arrogant. You're arrogant. You show arrogance, no one will respect you. The way we speak to others, if we speak condescendingly to others, no one will love us. But show humility and look at the results. Be humble genuinely, not to show. This is not theatrics. You're not putting a movie or a show. No, but to teach ourselves to be humble. Once we're humble, we're in the habit we become in the habit of being humble and showing humility, khalas, it becomes a habit. It's no longer a show. I teach myself to be humble. The way I sit at a majlis, in a gathering, in a board meeting. If I'm humble with my wife, with a wife is humble with her husband, children are humble with their parents, with my neighbor, with my friends, with my co-workers, with those above me, with those below me, my employees, those who work for me, but I'm still humble to them. Imagine how people will look at you. Imagine how much people would love you. Think of all the people that you know and those you love the most. And I guarantee you, you will see that you love those that are humble, those that exhibit humility, genuinely humble, genuine humility. They're not faking it. It's a habit of theirs to be humble. They don't look for big titles. They don't have to sit in the front row of every meeting, of every majlis. They're willing to sit in the back. They're willing to sit all the way in the back. They're willing to not be recognized for the things that they've done, for their accomplishments, even if no one recognizes them. It's okay with them. That's humility. That's humbleness. Those that don't speak condescendingly to others, that's humility. It's a beautiful trait. Allah loves this trait. Allah says, in a hadith by the Ahlul Bayt, "Man tawadha'a lillah rafa'ahu Allah." He who humbles himself or herself in the presence of Allah, Allah will raise this person. Look at those that are arrogant, how Allah displaces them, brings them down, lowers them. Those who exhibit pride and arrogance, like Shaitan. Shaitan exhibited pride and arrogance. He was kicked out of Allah's mercy and out of heaven. Yet look at those that were humble and showed humility, how Allah raises them. Man tawadha'a lillah rafa'ahu Allah. When we show humility, we will win people's hearts. Those who are humble win people's hearts. Those who are arrogant will get people to run away from them and not have any friends. Number 9, don't give orders to anyone. If you want something, ask kindly. Know how to request. Even if it's from young children, don't give orders. No one likes those who give orders. You can ask kindly. You can kindly request from someone to do something for you. Even if it's your wife, even if it's your husband, even if it's your children, learn how to ask politely. You can get, at the end of the day, you can get people to do what you want them to do, but you have to learn how to ask. Learn how to tell people. Learn how to respect. Learn how to request and not order. No one likes to take orders. It's all about the language. What sort of language do you use? Do you use a bossy language? Do you tell people what to do? Or do you kindly request them to do it? And they'll be more than happy to do it. They'll be more than happy to do it. And they'll appreciate you asking them to do it if you ask kindly. They'll feel important that you ask them for this request. Learn to get what you want without ordering, but rather requesting kindly and politely. Number 10, don't expect anything in return. The people we love the most are the ones that did good to us without expecting anything in return from us. Those are the people that we love the most. Those that do things with sincere intentions. They don't expect a thank you. They don't expect a reward. They don't expect recognition. Those that are sincere, they give. Their life is all about giving and not receiving. It's all about providing and helping others, but not expecting anything in return. These people are loved the most. These people are appreciated in the community. Maybe it might seem so at the time, but at the end of the day, these people will be appreciated. These people are the leaders of the community. These people are the ones that are loved in the community. Those that live their whole life in giving, and not receiving, not expecting anything in return. Just like the Ahlul Bayt Salamullahi alayhim. Ahlul Bayt didn't expect anything in return for their services. Their life was about giving knowledge, giving wealth, giving money, giving guidance, and not asking anything in return. And the same thing goes for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Their grandfather, Rasulullah, served this nation without asking anything in return. قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. Say, I ask no reward from you other than to love my family members. And number 11, try to inspire and motivate as many people as you can. Inspire, motivate people, encourage them, find the good in people, and stress on that good. If you see someone who will make a good scholar or a good Hawza student, encourage them to do good, inspire them, motivate them. If you see someone who's smart in business, encourage them to do business, motivate them, push them to their limits, encourage them, and they will never forget this. We never forget those who inspire us and motivate us. I remember the person who pushed me to become, in the field of religion, to become a religious scholar. The person who encouraged me and inspired me to study and to go to Hawza and to attain knowledge. I will never forget that person. Although I did not study under that person, but that person inspired me, motivated me, encouraged me. I will forever be in debt to that person. Let's be a source of inspiration. Let's be a source of motivation. Let's be a source of encouragement. Don't put people down. Don't tell people that you can't do this. You can't achieve it. There's no way you could do it. No. Tell people you can. You can achieve whatever you put your mind into. You can motivate. You can inspire. And people will never forget you. People will always love you for inspiring them, for encouraging them. 50 years down the line, and you will be remembered for inspiring and motivating. Why is it that we love Imam Hussein, my dear friends? Why? We have 101 reasons to love Imam Hussein alayhi salam. But one of those reasons is because he inspires us. It's because he motivates us. It's because he gets us to act. It's because he gets us to move. It gets us to fight against injustice. It gets us to fight for anyone who's oppressed on the face of this planet, to fight for their rights. Imam Hussein inspires us to work for our faith, to work for our religion, to work for our school of thought, to try to spread the message of Ahlul Bayt and the message of the Quran and the message of Islam. This is why we love Imam Hussein. He inspires us, he motivates us, and he continues to do so. And the same goes for his brother Abul Fadl al-Abbas. Why is it that millions of people love Abul Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam? The second man in Karbala. First is Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and the second is Abul Fadl al-Abbas. How many people love Abul Fadl al-Abbas, who hold him in high regard, a high position for him, because he inspires us. He inspires us to love unconditionally, the same way that he loved his brother Imam Hussein unconditionally. He inspires us to think of others before we think of ourselves, the same way that Abul Fadl al-Abbas thought of others before himself when he poured the water and did not drink. But Abul Fadl al-Abbas tells us and inspires us how to be a loyal brother, how to be a loyal brother, how to be a loving uncle, and how to be a fierce warrior in the battleground. Abul Fadl al-Abbas was the last man standing along with Imam Hussein alayhi salam. He tells his brother, Akhi Aba Abdullah, allow me to go and seek revenge from our enemies. Imam Hussein alayhi salam told him, Akhi, أنت صاحب لوائي إذا مضيت تمزق عسكري أو تفرق عسكري. My brother, you are my army. If you are gone, I will lose my entire army. Imagine, Abul Fadl Abbas, one man, one individual, was an army himself. He said, then allow me to go and get water for these children. Imam Hussein told him, if you go to get water, then I give you permission. Al-Abbas gets on his horse. He goes to the river. The enemies disperse. He goes into the river. He takes the water skin. He fills it with water. He takes an amount of water. He's about to drink. He remembers the crying children, those that were crying from water, from thirst. He drops the water and he says, Ya nafsu min ba'd al-Husayn هوني وبعده لا كنت أن تكوني وتشربين بارد المعين تالله ما هذا فعال ديني. He gets the water skin. He rides his horse. He's about to come back to the camp. The enemy soldiers surround him from every direction. From every direction. An arrow falls into the water skin. The water is spilled. His right hand is cut off. He begins to recite, Wallahi in qata'tumu yamini, inni uhami abadan an dini, wa an imamin sadiq al-yaqini, najl al-nabiy al-tahir al-amini. And another enemy soldier cuts off his left hand. He carries before the water skin. The arrow comes after they cut off his left hand. He carries the water skin with his teeth until an arrow comes and hits the water skin. The water is spilled, and then another arrow falls in his right eye. Abil Fadl Abbas can no longer see. His hands are cut off. An arrow is in his right eye, and then an enemy of God hits him with a metal pole on his head. Abil Fadl Abbas falls to the ground from his horse. You know, when we fall, the first thing that we do is we put our hands to break our fall so that our head is not injured. But Abil Fadl Abbas could not put his hands. He could not break his fall. He falls to his face and he begins to shout, Akhi Aba Abdullah, Akhi ya Hussein, adrik akhak. He calls his brother. Imam Hussein alayhi salam rushes to him. He sees Abil Fadl Abbas in such a state. He sits next to him. He puts the head of Abil Fadl Abbas in his lap. He sees the hands cut off. He sees the flag on the ground. He sees the arrow in the eye. Abil Fadl Abbas, he tells his brother, he doesn't know this is his brother. He thought it's an enemy coming to finish him off. He said, Billahi alayk ya hadha, don't kill me. I swear to you by God, don't kill me. Let my brother come so that I say my farewell to my brother. Imam Hussein alayhi salam told him, my brother, it is me. It is Hussein speaking to you. You have broken my back. أخي الآن انكسر ظهري وقلت حيلتي وشمت بي عدوي. Finally, Imam Hussein walks back to the tent. The women and children are waiting for him. So Kaina goes to her father. My dear father, is there any news of my uncle Al-Abbas? Has he brought any water back? Because I am thirsty. Imam Hussein alayhi salam has no ability, has no energy to speak a word. He goes to the tent of Abil Fadl Abbas. He grabs the pole in the middle of the tent and he drops it to the floor, meaning that the owner of this tent is not coming back tonight. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العلي الأعظم الأعز الأجل الأكرم يا الله. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا عيبا إلا سترته ولا خوفا إلا آمنته ولا رزقا إلا بسطته ولا شملا إلا جمعته ولا مرضا إلا شفيته ولا غائبا إلا حفظته وأدنيته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة لك فيها رضا ولنا فيها صلاح إلا قضيتها ويسرتها يا أرحم الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس. كن شفيعنا وشفيع والدينا في يوم الجزاء. Ya Abil Fadl Abbas, we ask for your intercession on the day of judgment. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are alongside you and your companions and your family and be the gate for our wishes and our needs. Assalamu alaikum, my dear respected brothers and sisters of NYC and IIA. The brother Nouri Sardar comes out and says, "Where are my hands? Alone she stands, the banner flutters, nothing else matters but my promise to her upon these sands, bodies like lambs, and my heart shatters just like the waters that from the canteen pour. Abbas, don't fail, the children wail. Abbas, don't fail, the children wail. The children wail, the children wail. I'm the son of the one whose sword descended from the heavens. Marhab kills all, but seeing him, his heart shrivels and weakens. My sword cuts straight through evil's edge. From my father its lessons. I am the fortress of Ali that surrounds all his orphans, that surrounds all his orphans. Abbas, don't fall, the children call, tortured by their thirst. Pain is at its worst, and their hope is in you. Stand back up tall, souls to you crawl, their tongues quenched by thirst. Their tongues be quenched first, let your own tongue fast. The excuses are few. Abbas, don't fail, the children wail, the children wail. Abbas, don't fail, the children wail, the children wail. I am the eagle in battle that attacks birds and sparrows. I take men's souls from their bodies, leaving only their shadows. I leave the mothers of tyrants drowning in grief and sorrow, were the angel of death to sleep. I didn't show her that death grows. I didn't show her that death grows. I am Abbas, none by me pass. I am Abbas, none by me pass. When we were children, life was delusion, and our hands played with death. None can surpass. I'm of a class, and I'm a lesson, no comparison. Angels rejoice at my breath. Abbas, don't fail, the children wail. Abbas, don't fail, the children wail, the children wail.
Oh Abbas, you are a mountain. Raise yourself up off the ground. You are the lion others fear. Men throw their hopes where you frowned. Your presence makes blood invade. Your presence makes blood in veins freeze. Air by air around you drown. Don't let the wails of those girls be in your ears. Lost sound. Oh Abbas, rise like the sunrise. Oh Abbas, rise like the sunrise. Burn out all the air. Leave them in despair for that grief in Zainab. Open your eyes, soothe all their cries. Open your eyes, soothe all those cries. Souls from bodies tear, just like skin from hair. Challenges you, marhab. Abbas, don't fail. Children way up. Abbas, don't fail. Children way up. Children way up. Oh Abbas, you know me, Abbas. I embody selflessness. I let the moon sit on the sky, though I challenge its brightness. You know I sat by the river upon my tongue a dryness. Yet when I recalled all those, yet when I recalled those children, to me water is worthless. To me water is worthless. I cannot stand without a hand. My arms are severed, my hands dismembered. How can I push myself up? How can I push myself up? I can't withstand water that's banned, but I've remembered my hands are removed. I just cannot push up. Abbas, don't fail. The children wail. Abbas, don't fail. The children wail. The children wail. A wind don't travel to Zainab. Hey, a wind don't travel to Zainab. I don't know what to tell her. If she sensed that Abbas has bled, the rose I got shall wither. The cries of thirst from those young girls, the cries of thirst from those young girls, my heart and mine, they smother, and now it hurts that my own fall breaks the back of my brother. breaks the back of my brother. Oh Lord, I plead, hear as I plead, bring me my Hossein, as all of this pain, the sight of him heals. Accept this deed, water they need, bring me back again my heart in this day. By them my soul kneels. Abbas, don't fail, the children wail. Abbas, don't fail, the children wail. The children wail. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah, وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم مني جميعا سلام الله بدل ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، خصوصا سيدي ومولاي باب الحوائج أبي الفضل العباس والعقيلة زينب، ورحمة الله وبركاته إلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات. رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة مسبوقة بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.